Hi again everyone, Dwayne here joining you again for yet another lesson on tunes over twiddly bits. Now from this point I'm going to try to move a bit more quickly than I've been moving. I've deliberately tried to go very slowly as I walked you through the absolute basics, and I'd like to think I've kept my promise of trying to get you to play a song as quickly as possible. So to that end, you'll recall that in our last lesson I showed you how to incorporate the melody by using the 9 chord positions that we discussed, the 3 positions of each of 3 tonic triads that we use in the key of C major, and you saw last time how those chord positions enabled you to play the entire song Jesus Loves Me with the melody distinctly audible at the top of every chord that you played. But you'll have noticed that I only played in the right hand. So this time, as promised, I'll show you what to do with your left hand. To keep this moving, I won't spend as much time as I normally spend giving you a recap of the previous video. I'll just encourage you, if you need a refresher, to watch the previous video. I did spend a long time going through how to use the chords to get the melody. So I'm taking it for granted that you've digested that information and that you're ready for us to move on. So here we go. So for Jesus Loves Me, we're using 3 chords: the C major tonic triad, the F major tonic triad, and the G major tonic triad. Or you could simply say the C triad, the F triad, the G triad, or the C chord, the F chord, the G chord. However you refer to it. I think by now you should know what I'm talking about. Now let's jump straight in. We already know which chord positions to use to get through the song. But how do we use our left hand? Now, let us take our C triad in root position, really, because this illustrates it best. Remember that is C, E, and G. So here it is. You will recall that the root of the chord is the note that the chord is named after. So this chord is C, E, G, or the C major tonic triad. We can simply refer to it as the C chord. Or if we're speaking about chords, it's fine to just say C, which I did several videos back. Now, the mere fact that the chord gets its name from that letter name indicates that C is the root of the chord. So when you're playing a C chord, the basic rule is to play the root of the chord with your left hand. So you'll be playing C, E, G in the right hand, and in the left hand you simply play C, which is the root of the chord. So here we go. The same thing applies for F. You move to F, root position, you just play a single F in the left hand along with the chord. So here we go. And the same thing for G, just play the root of the chord. Move up to G, then back to C. Now, what you will notice is that I was able to just play the left hand, the root in the left hand, by keeping my hand in one position. I did that because I've put my thumb on the C immediately below middle C, and placing each finger on a note, you will see that my index finger goes on B, my middle finger on A, my 4th finger on G, and my little finger on F, which means I just use the appropriate finger depending on the note that I want. I didn't have to move. So when I'm playing C, I just use my thumb in the left hand to play the root in the bass along with what I'm playing in my right hand. When I go to F, say root position, I just use my little finger in the left hand. I didn't have to move my hand. Then when I go to G, I move in the right hand, but I don't move my left hand. I just simply use my ring finger and play the G. And then back to C. So if you want to get accustomed to just playing the left hand in a basic way, you can simply do it that way. Place your thumb, your left thumb, on the C, 1 octave below middle C. Here's middle C. 1 octave below, the thumb goes here. And then, as I say, each finger goes on a white note without skipping any out. You will find that your little finger is on F and your ring finger is on G. And you needn't move. If you're only playing inversions, or, well, whether inversions or root position, it matters not. If you're only playing essentially 3 chords, the C chord, the F chord, and the G chord, at a basic level, this is all you need to play in the bass. So here we go. This is a good exercise. And you don't necessarily have to be playing a song to do this. But since we haven't been using our left hand at all and we're now going to start, this is a good exercise, a basic exercise. So remember again, take your left hand, place your thumb on the C 1 octave below middle C, and all the fingers going to the left will fall on a note. So you will find that your little finger is on F, your ring finger is on G, and of course your thumb is on C, and then you just move between the chords regardless of position. You don't have to stick to root position in your right hand, but just make sure that you're playing the root of the chord, a single note, the root of the chord with your left hand. So here we go. C, F, G, C here. Again, C, F, G, C. Then you can mix the order up. C, G, F, G, back to C. And you can keep going like that. You know, mix the chords up, change the order as you wish. A more important thing and a more beneficial thing for you to practice is not just sticking to root position chords in your right hand. Now, if you recall what I said to you in the last lesson about trying to find the common note between any two of the triads and pivoting on the common note, then you will realize that you can stick on one note, pivot on that, and you can find the closest position of the next chord that you want to move to based on where you're coming from. This, of course, is not specific to Jesus Loves Me, this I know, but you'll recall that I said to you that these three chords can be used to play many different songs. Jesus Loves Me is just the one I started with, and I did say we won't stick with that song forever. So here we go. Let's forget Jesus Loves Me for the time being. Let's just look at it this way. Before I add the left hand, we're in C in root position, spelled C-E-G. Now if we want to move to a G chord, what is the closest G chord position to us that will minimize the amount of movement that we have to do? Before we started incorporating the melody into Jesus Loves Me, which we did in the last lesson, when I showed you how to play the basic accompaniment, I insisted that you just use root position. So if you are going to G from C, you would have to move from here all the way up to here, which is a lot of movement. Even to get to F from C, if we were sticking to root position, we'd have to go all the way up here. Now, is there a closer position of F that we can get to moving from a C root position? Is there a closer position of G? And the answer in both instances is yes. The closest position, if we are we've played a C root position chord, as you would have learned for Jesus Loves Me, the closest position of F is the F second inversion. For that, we can leave the middle C and just slide up our little finger from G to A and the middle finger from E to F. And we have an F second inversion. That's the closest F inversion to a C root position. If we want to get from a C root position to an F root position, you'll recall we have to go all the way up here. Even from a C root position, if we wanted to get to an F first inversion, we'd have to move a bit more. We'd have to probably use there are a number of options, but we could use the fourth finger to play F. Then we would have to put the index finger to replace the thumb on middle C, leaving the thumb free to go down to F. So it would be this. That's a fair bit more movement, as opposed to just being here, leaving the C, the middle C, where it is, and then just sliding up, opening up the chord, which again we did several times in Jesus Loves Me. You remember? Remember this movement? So there it is. Now if we're in a C root position, the closest G position is actually G first inversion, because the common note again, the G, the top note, we can leave the same, and then we just slide the thumb down to B and introduce the index finger to play D instead of E. So we lift up the third finger from E, use the index finger to play D, and the thumb goes down from C to B. So that is our closest position for G from C, first C root position. C root position, the closest F position is F second inversion. Back to C root position, the closest G position is G first inversion. So then we can do this. Let's reintroduce our right hand. Remember how we place our right hand one octave. The C one octave below middle C, and every finger falls on a note. So here we go. introduce the left hand. So C root position, F second inversion, back to C root position, G first inversion, back to C root position, and we can keep doing that. Second inversion F, root position C, first inversion G, root position C. So here we go. Okay? You can change the order up. The whole idea is to see from whichever position you're in of any chord, what is the closest position of one of the other chords that we're using. So if you're in G, let's say you're on G, you're playing a G root position. What is the closest C position to where you are? Leaving the G as a common note, much like how we opened up from a C root position to an F second inversion. The same thing applies if we are on G and we want to get to the closest C position. We leave the bottom note, G, the common note, and we just open up to a C second inversion. Here we go. G root position, C second inversion, back to G root position. Now, if we want the nearest F position from the G root position, that nearest F position is actually an F root position because it's right beside. Here we go. F root position, G root position, C second inversion. And we can keep on adding the left hand. The left hand just has to stay where it is. So here we go. The idea is to just experiment with each of the positions, both of the C chord, the F chord, and the G chord, and try to figure out what is the nearest position from where you are to each of the other chords that we use. So, start on F. The nearest C position is actually C first inversion. We leave the C, the common note, at the top, and slide down the F to E, introduce the index finger for G, and then we're at C. We move up here in the left hand, and then if we want to get to G from here, then we pivot. Remember, we're on C first inversion. If we want to get to the nearest G inversion, we pivot on the common note, the G, slide the C down to B and the E down to D. And here we have a G second inversion. So back to C first inversion, G second inversion, back to C first inversion, then we can close up back to F root position, C first inversion, G second inversion, back to C first inversion. There are a number of possibilities, and so I will leave you this time with that. That is something to practice, which will take you away from the monotony of Jesus Loves Me, because this will be vitally important when we try to use these three chords to play some other songs. So I hope this has been helpful. Again, if it has been, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you again, and see you next time. Bye-bye.